One AI agent created a supplier, changed the payout account, approved the invoice, and released the payment. Every login was valid. Every step was permitted. The failure was that one identity controlled the entire outcome. Imagine a procurement agent receives a request to onboard a new vendor. For convenience, its service role can create supplier records. An invoice arrives later, so the same agent extracts the details, updates the bank account, confirms the invoice, and sends the payment instruction. 4 separate systems each check permission and return green. None asks whether the same actor already performed an incompatible duty in the same transaction. This is the segregation of duties gap. Separation of duties is not only a list of roles. It divides incompatible actions so one actor cannot initiate, approve, execute, and verify the same high-impact outcome. A valid identity can still create an invalid workflow. Build the AI agent segregation of duties autopilot in 6 parts. First, map duties, not just tools. For every critical transaction, name the maker, checker, executor, reconciler, and exception owner. Map the complete path across procurement, vendor master data, accounts payable, treasury, and the audit trail. A conflict can span systems even when each application looks safe alone. Second, build a conflict matrix. Mark combinations that must never belong to the same actor, create supplier and approve supplier, change bank details and approve an invoice and release payment, execute payment, and reconcile the result. Include agent identities, service accounts, parent agents, delegated sessions, and human operators. A different label is not independent control when the authority is shared. Third, use genuinely independent identities. Assign incompatible duties to independent actors, credentials, policy boundaries, and accountable owners. Preserve the delegation chain so a child agent cannot hide that its parent already acted as maker. An agent must never approve its own work, approve its own exception, or route a task back to the same authority under a new name. Fourth, enforce segregation at transaction time. Before every high-impact action, evaluate the transaction identifier, current actor, prior actors, requested duty, resource, amount, and policy version. Block the action when the conflict policy marks maker checker, checker payer, or executor reviewer as incompatible. Enforce the rule across systems before the irreversible step, not in a report after payment. Fifth, constrain exceptions. Emergencies may require temporary access, but the exception needs an independent owner, one narrow transaction or resource scope, a short expiry, and a mandatory review. The requesting agent cannot grant, approve, or extend its own exception. Break glass access must create more evidence, never less. Sixth, reconcile, test, and prove. Record every actor, duty, delegation hop, conflict decision, approval, exception, execution result, and independent review. Monitor toxic access combinations and repeated attempts to route around a denial. Test the conflict matrix with simulated workflows, then verify that a separate reconciler can prove who made, checked, executed, and reviewed each outcome. That is the AI agent segregation of duties autopilot. Map the duties, define conflicts, separate identities, gate every transaction, constrain exceptions, and prove independent review. Permissions answer whether an agent may act. Segregation of duties asks whether that agent must be stopped because it already acted somewhere else in the same outcome.